What is up, guys? Welcome back and welcome to the UFC 254 watch along. We are here for the last three fights of the night. I actually don't need my headphones now, but welcome. We're here. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje, of course, and Walt Harris versus Alexander Volkov is just about to get underway now. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button on the YouTube channel if you're watching from there. If you're either from Facebook, make sure to drop the page a follow as well. But yes, let's have a quick look at the tail of the tape, of course. Alexander Volkov, Walt Harris, 31-8 versus 13-8. You can see the vast experience differential between the two. 6'7" and 6'5" in height. 205, 250 both came in around in that heavyweight division, of course, not the light heavyweight division. And then close reach and leg reach differential. It's not too dissimilar, but we are underway now. And Volkov is looking to take center of the octagon, Walt Harris out on the end. On the edge, should I say? Of course, the last time we saw Walt Harris in the octagon was against Alistair Overeem. The last time, it wasn't his night at UFC 249, I believe, in Jacksonville. Or a couple of the events after that 249 card in Jacksonville obviously came out very fast. Charged emotionally, as you would expect, after what had happened previously to that fight, and he got the loss on his record, unfortunately. But he's looking a lot better. He's looking a bit better shape. Mentally, he seems a lot more sound as well, and a lot more ready to fight as he did compared to the last one. Let us know where you're watching from as well. Obviously, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Justin Gaethje, the title fight, and it's just 2 fights away now. But boy, Alexander Volkov, 6'7" monster out of Russia. His last fight, of course, was up against Curtis Blades, where he got out wrestled for 5 rounds in that UFC Apex in the smaller octagon. Of course, this time it is in the big cage, the 30-foot octagon, and this card has been phenomenal, hasn't it? We'll do a recap at the end of the night, but so far 3 finishes in a row, and Goliath with a knockout, as did Phil Halls, I believe his name is, in the fight previously, a vicious knockout, and obviously Lauren Murphy picking up a submission victory in her bout too. Volkov continuing to hold that M inside the octagon, take the center of the cage there, and you got Walt Harris You got Walt Harris on the outside of the cage. No fight showing here, unfortunately. It is just a watch along. If you've got it on, if you're in the UK, it is on BT Sport pay-per-view or other networks around the globe. Just coming up to 3 minutes in that first round. You could say Walt Harris is doing well there. He's keeping his own, but I'd just say Volkov at the moment just keeping that cage control, that octagon control, and he looks to be being a little bit damaged. But Walt Harris there throwing a little flurry of punches, connecting well, but no damage there, should we say? This is a nice, almost little taster, isn't it? We've got the heavyweights, we've got the middleweights following in the co-main, and then obviously that huge lightweight bout in Khabib versus Gaethje. Let us know where you're watching from as well, and what you've made of the fight so far. Final minute of the first round. Obviously, both of these in the top 10 of the heavyweight division, which of course right now is very stacked, albeit waiting for the champion to return. Obviously, Steve Miocic defeated Daniel Cormier, who's now retired, on the mic tonight, of course, doing a fantastic job. But we're waiting for Francis Ngannou to get his shot, probably early into next year. And Walt Harris is hurt here. Volkov looking to finish it in the last 40 seconds here with some flurry punches. Walt Harris up against the cage. Volkov with a fresh back tattoo, it seems. I've not seen that before, whether he had that in his last fight against Curtis Blades or he's had that done since. But quite the masterpiece on his back there. But Walt Harris has survived here, and he's got out of trouble just about here. But 20 seconds left to go the first round, and it looks like Volkov is really finding his groove in there. And that is the bell for the first round. 10-9 Volkov. I'd imagine get your scorecards in the comments down below if you're watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button as well if you're on YouTube, of course. Make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button if you're on the Facebook page too. We'll be doing a lot more content coming your way very soon, covering UFC, Cage Warriors, and Bellator week in, week out. We have got the full calendar now, the full return of MMA after what was a small down period in terms of European MMA for COVID-19, of course. But it's nice to have everything back. And tonight's been phenomenal. Despite, there's been a little controversy in terms of the UK fans, especially having to pay for this card, whereas we usually get those for free with our subscription to BT Sport. But with what we've been given so far, you can't exactly complain. It looks like we're going to be heading towards potentially four finishes in a row in this pay-per-view event. Khabib and Gaethje will be on about half an hour. We've got one fight after this, and then of course it is the title match up after that. Let us know your predictions down below. Khabib, is it hashtag and still, or Justin Gaethje getting it done and new? And we're back into the second round, and Walt Harris coming out where landed a few heavy punches there, but again, no real damage. Volkov looking strong here, looking the stronger of the two, keeping that range, keeping his composure. And Walt Harris knows he's a round down already, so he needs to win his first two if he wants to get a unanimous decision, or he's going to be on the end of the wrong scorecard or decision once again. Yassine saying hashtag and still, putting his Khabib's predictions down below. Let us know where you're watching from as well. 35 of 60 strikes now for Volkov compared to 20 landed for Walt Harris. So Volkov obviously doing the high percentage of the damage here and landing the more strikes, the busier of the two fighters so far. Walt Harris is hurt here, a huge liver strike, and the referee stopped it in there. Volkov gets the win. It looks like it was a liver strike. I just missed it here with the screen out of view here. But Harris is down, whether it's a broken rib or a winded strike where it's hit him in the liver. But Walt Harris is very, very hurt right now, and that's the end of the fight. 2 rounds in, and Walt Harris is in a lot of pain. Now, we don't know what injury this is, but it looks like he got striked in the liver. Obviously, we know Volkov is a beautiful kickboxer, and he's got that long leg reach that we saw. But Alexander Volkov hanging over the cage, and that is a phenomenal win for Volkov. That puts him back into the win column, of course, and can get him back in towards that UFC heavyweight title picture. He's still got quite a few ahead of him, and having lost to Curtis Blades, he's got some work to do. But ranked 7, Junior Dos Santos is up there, Alistair Overeem, of course, Derek Lewis, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, all looking to have fights. Obviously, we've got Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis, I think, happening. So maybe you put him up against Alexander Volkov, against Alistair Overeem, maybe. Or I think Dos Santos has got a fight coming up soon as well. He was meant to fight Cyril Gane, I believe. Or he is fighting Cyril Gane, at least. But, Jesus, I feel sorry for Walt Harris. 2 fights lost in a row now. He's not had a great 2020, obviously, with what happened last year. Was poor, and I feel for him, man. it's almost like how we're going to be feeling like the Khabib tonight. But Alexander Volkov is about to get his hand raised as we move on to the co-main event. Let us know what you're drinking in the comments. I won the Monster tonight. Officially 1 minute 15 seconds of round number 2. Alexander Volkov gets the win via TKO. But yes, we are back. Obviously, just looked at that Alexander Volkov body kick, an absolute phenomenal kick to the solar plex of the Walt Harris, and that was all she wrote, and that ended the bout. But a fantastic win for Alexander Volkov that gets back into the win column. And we move on now to Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier in the co-main event tonight. Obviously, Robert Whittaker coming back off of this win against Darren Till, back on UFC Fight Island, of course. I believe it was that last Fight Island card of the first batch that we had earlier in the year in August. And it's nice to see Robert Whittaker back, isn't it? It's a bit of a quick turnaround when this fight got announced. I think it was only a week or two after he beat Darren Till it was a very quick turnaround, and you're almost thinking, is it a bit too soon for Whittaker, especially with the year he had? Obviously, we know about his mental health and the struggles he's had outside the cage in the last 12 months, especially being as a UFC champion and the pressures that's been. And it seems like he's had a huge weight lifted off his shoulder, and he's coming in a lot more relaxed, a lot more calm. What time it starts? It starts in about 20 minutes. The main event will be starting about 20 minutes time from now. So maybe about 9:15, 9:30, we'll be expecting the walkout there for Justin Gaethje and Khabib. But boy, these fights haven't gone the distance so far. Do you think we get one go to the distance? We'll have a quick look, of course, at the middleweight rankings, of course, because this does have such a huge importance on the next challenger for Robert Whittaker here, or for Israel Adesanya, sorry, the middleweight champion, of course, defeated Paulo Costa at UFC 253 just 4 weeks ago, and tonight we've got the number one contender spot up for grabs. Robert Whittaker, if he wins tonight, will be looking to get the second batch and the rematch against against Adesanya there. Sorry, after he lost at UFC 243, he's probably gunning to get that title back, and a win tonight would do that for him. Albeit if Jared Cannonier beats Darren Till in December, of course you'll be expecting him to potentially get a title shot too. But yes, obviously if Jared Cannonier wins tonight, and we saw from the champion as Adesanya after the event, of course, at UFC 253, called out Jared Cannonier and said, if you get a dominating win tonight, you will be next in line for the title. Of course, former heavyweight and former light heavyweight has lost to Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes, of course. And he's going to be one to get the winner tonight. We'll have a look at the tape before they walk out. But yeah, this division's on fire at the moment. Obviously, next week we've got Uriah versus Anderson Silva, which will be Anderson Silva's final fight as the champion. Final fight in the UFC. Maybe moving on to Bellator PFL 1 Championship. Perhaps there's a lot of opportunities for him at Anderson Silva in that middleweight division over at Bellator would be very interesting. But of course, 44, 45 years of age now, he's getting on a bit, and he's not getting any younger, not getting any better. He's slowing down a bit. The performance against Adesanya, of course, was one that was very, very positive for him. He came back against Jared Cannonier, who's fighting next. Didn't look so good, although it was a knee injury that put him out there. And it's always sad to see, obviously, with the leg break that he suffered against Chris Weidman in that rematch. It's sad that we get to see him, finally bow out after what a career he's had. He's one of the GOATs in the sport, of course. And boy, is it exciting. Jared Cannonier obviously coming to this after beating Jack Hermansson, the Joker, of course, 13-4. Jared Cannonier at the moment, beating Jack Hermansson, Anderson Silva, David Branch. So he's on a 3-fight win streak after following those losses in the light heavyweight division to Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz, and Glover Teixeira. Ian Cutelaba beat as well, who lost tonight in a devastating knockout loss as well. What time the fight's on, Zaire? They're coming on. Well, Jared Cannonier starting any second now, but Khabib is on in about 20 minutes. Let us know your predictions down for the co-main event. Is it Jared Cannonier or Robert Whittaker, the Reaper versus the Killer Gorilla? Who picks it up tonight? Ben, I believe if you're in the UK, or Ireland, you can watch it on BT Sport pay-per-view or BT Sport box office. You have to pay for it tonight. £20. It is at the moment. I paid my fee for it, and we build up to the co-main event. We'll have a quick look at the tail of the tape, of course, before they walk out. And of course, I just see Ben's comment. Let's bring it down and get a good look at the tail of the tape. Of course, 22-5 there for Robert Whittaker, 13-4 for Jared Cannonier. 6 foot in height for Robert Whittaker, and Cannonier is 5'11", and then both came in at 185. I believe Whittaker came in at 186 actually on weigh-ins yesterday. 73.5-inch reach for Whittaker, 77.5 for Cannonier, and 43 leg reach for Whittaker and 41.5 for Cannonier. It's interesting that Whittaker, the natural middleweight, is obviously got the longer leg reach. It's interesting. Obviously, Jared Cannonier coming down for heavyweight, we mentioned previously, has got a shorter leg reach. And I was doing the research today. We've got 5'11" there in Cannonier. He's the same size as Corey Sandhagen, who's fought at bantamweight, and of course had a very good win against Marlon Moraes. Yes, get your predictions down in the comments below. Are we going to be seeing the winner tonight up against Israel Adesanya in their next fight? Jared Cannonier making the walkout now. He seems very calm, very composed. He seems quite a serious character when you hear him talk. He's very, he knows his goal and he knows his way to get there, should we say. And obviously he's coming out tonight in the co-main event of the evening up against Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champion who's been in some wars himself, the likes of Yoel Romero. Unfortunately, it didn't go on quite well at Adesanya. With Adesanya, one of my favorite fighters, probably actually my favorite fighter at the moment, as he's been relentless in his rise to the championship, to the title. And I think Robert Whittaker needed some time off. He took a year out. He had a lot of injuries, the hernia that he suffered in February of 2018 or 2019 when he was supposed to fight Kelvin Gastelum, someone who's fallen out of love in the middleweight division, of course. And we will have a quick look at the middleweight rankings once again, once I find them, of course. And yeah, as we said, number 1 versus number 2. The winner tonight gets the champion Israel Adesanya, but we've got Darren Till in there, who is facing Jack Hermansson in December. A win for one of them two could potentially see them snuck in to a title shot should it be impressive, should Adesanya choose one of those two instead, because it seems like Adesanya is choosing his opponent rather than the challenger calling out the champion. It's very much the champion going, I'll pick you off, I'll pick you off, I'll pick you off. And that's what he's done throughout the whole of his career at Adesanya. And it's phenomenal to see that we've got a champion. His whole thing in this division was that we've not had a champion like Anderson Silva, who's been defending his title regularly, who's been fighting regularly. We've had Robert Whittaker, we had Bisping, obviously, where GSP who came in to the title and really held up the division for a little while. And I think that's the UFC and the fans' concerns about him going to lightweight, facing Khabib, perhaps. So, let us know where you're watching from as well. And Robert Whittaker's about to walk into the cage now. Let us know your predictions in the comments down below. When will Khabib fight? Someone says, Amjad, Khabib will be fighting in about 20-25 minutes once we get through this fight, depending on how long it goes. We're on the co-main event now with Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier. So it is very much the next fight. Let us know, comments down below, put your predictions in, Cannonier or Whittaker. Who's going to be fighting next for the middleweight title, of course. 1,600 of you watching at the moment. Absolutely bonkers. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like button as well if you're on the Facebook page. Make sure to hit follow, of course, and hit that like button for Facebook as well. We will be bringing you content week in, week out from UFC, Bellator, and Cage Warriors. But we'll throw up the tail of the tape once more before we get into this one. As we mentioned, Whittaker versus Cannonier, 22-5 up against 13-4. The wars that Whittaker's been through in that 22-5 as well. Only 29 years of age as well. 6 foot up against 5'11", and a similar reach, well, big reach advantage for Jared Cannonier. No fights will be shown on here, of course. If you're watching in the UK and Ireland, it's on BT Sport. Other territories, UFC Fight Pass, ESPN Plus, etc. The famous Bruce Buffer making his announcements now. And we will be getting into this co-main event. Let me know what you're drinking in the comments down below. I'm on the Monster tonight, making sure to keep the energy up. Number 1 versus number 2 in that middleweight division and stacked division, and we're about to see him get underway any second now. Be interested to see what Whittaker brings out, and I was there and to be on a bit of the buzz from that Darren Till win. We saw the admiration between the two, the Liverpudlian and the Australian. Those two were very, very respectful of one another. The build up towards the fight as well, the Instagram back and forth. I haven't seen much about that with Jared Cannonier. As we get underway now, there is a touch with hands on the start, and Cannonier immediately hits that calf kick and looks to take center of the cage. Both of them two battling out for octagon control, looking after that M. As you see, you've got the two tram lines. It looks like Whittaker wants to stay on the outside of them, but just keeping his back foot on that second line. Cannonier will know that Whittaker's been hurt and can be hurt, and be interesting to see what the chin of Whittaker's like now. Obviously, Adesanya knocked him out the 2 fights back to back with Yoel Romero. Pardon me, would have taken its toll on his body and on his chin. He's taken some time out, and Cannonier looking there for a high kick, but to no prevail. Drops pretty quickly. But yeah, we've seen the experience that Whittaker has. Obviously, a former welterweight. It's interesting that we've got a former welterweight and a former heavyweight coming down and meeting at 185. Not quite in the middle, but it's incredible the transformation that Cannonier has put on, and the fact that he's been able to transform and to transfer that power down to the middleweight division as well. Whittaker there with a good jab. Looking for the high kick. This is going to be very much a kickboxing and Muay Thai bout by the seams of it. Both of them looking for those low calf kicks, which become so prevalent in the UFC at the moment and MMA as a whole. Everyone's looking to deaden the calf and deaden the movement and the footwork of each other. I'm sure Israel Adesanya, the champ, will be watching over this quite closely. The winner tonight will be his next opponent. You'd have to imagine whoever wins tonight, Cannonier will, after this, will be on a 4-fight win streak in that middleweight division. Obviously, Whittaker, the former champion, has a bit of money in the bank reserved, albeit he's only won He's only on a 1-fight win streak. Obviously lost to Adesanya, but he's still the elite of that division and still deserves a title shot and a chance to redeem himself against Adesanya. Halfway through the first round now, and it seems pretty even. It's hard to score this one so far. Looks like Cannonier might be edging it a little bit, but again, Whittaker looks calm. He looks very relaxed and loose there, and he looks like he's enjoying the battle at the moment. Let us know where around in the world you're watching it from and who you're backing tonight, Khabib or Gaethje. Will it be hashtag and still or hashtag and new? 1 minute 30 left to go in this 31st round now. Couple good jabs there from Whittaker. Again, it looks like Whittaker's looking to keep him at bay with that jab. This is, and he's looking to explode from him now. But Cannonier very good at moving out of the way there, and he throws a right of his own. Good kick there from Cannonier. Whittaker's looking good again. I don't know whether it was that pressure of being champion, but he's looked very relaxed in his last few fights. Maybe it's the time off. Maybe it's the amount of time he's had to think about where his career is at, not be so hard on himself. But it seems like he was his own worst enemy, and I think we saw it with Rose Namajunas as well. Once she became champion, she got a bit flooded with the pressure of being a champion. Obviously, you've got Southpaw up against Orthodox, which is always a tricky battle because obviously you're leaving yourself exposed through a jab or a right hand being the opposition with the opposite. It's not quite mirroring each other. You've got your lead foots, the two closest and almost next to each other. And obviously Whittaker's still here looking to control the outside of the cage, get his movement underway, and we're coming towards the end of the first round now. 2-1, and you got to say it's a very close round. 10-9 probably to Whittaker off of what we've seen, but let us know your scorecards in the comments down below. 10-9 Whittaker, or 10-9 Cannonier perhaps. Who do you think is getting the work in so far? A very good first round there from Whittaker, but again, very close and could go either way on the judges' scorecards tonight. I think we saw Casey Kenny and Nathaniel Wood be on the receiving end of that. 30-27 out of three scorecards, 128, 229-28, and 130-27. We're back on the way in the second round now, and Whittaker's come straight back out and taking the center of the octagon there, and good left hook there for Whittaker. Cannonier ate it though. And Cash, we'll be starting about 9:30, I believe. I think we walk about 9:30. We've got 2 rounds left of this, or just under 2 rounds left of this co-main event now. Whittaker's looking good on his feet there, despite he's taken some heavy leg kicks from Cannonier, but he's bouncing around, showing his loose, how loose he is and how calm he is in the cage as well. But he knows that Cannonier can land at any moment. Whittaker's left leg looks in pieces right now from the kicks he's taken from it. Very similar to how Till's leg looked after the Whittaker-Till fight. Whittaker's leg is looking very much the resemblance of Till's leg did on that night. Whittaker's still looking the more impressive of the two. I think Cannonier's putting in a good performance himself, but Whittaker's showing the experience, the champion that he's been. He's been at that very elite level for a long time now. As we mentioned, the fights against Romero, for Adesanya, albeit the loss on his record. Darren Till, who's an elite fighter, Jacare Souza, Derek Brunson, Brad Tavares, Uriah Hall fighting next week against Anderson Silva. We mentioned he's got some incredible wins on the record, and as well as the experience that he's faced. Going 10 rounds with Yoel Romero, not many people can say they've done that. Cannonier throwing the right hand now, a bit of a flurry phone booth boxing there, but no one taking too much damage. We're about 2 minutes 20 left of the second round. Two minutes left of this first round now. Whittaker still got a lot of energy in him, showing him he's probably the fitter of the two so far. His gas tank seems to be showing itself to be one of to be positive about. One minute 26 left of this first round. Whittaker with his hands down at the moment. Cannonier looking to fire off the jab. He's actually changed into orthodox now. Cannonier switched stances and looking to match Whittaker in this round. Clinch up now. Whittaker looking for the takedown. Secures him. That's probably secured in the round if he keeps him down, but Cannonier straight back up. Whittaker's on the back of Cannonier and throws a heavy head kick that just misses Cannonier on the break. Cannonier welcomes back a kick of his own. $800 people with you watching so far. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share it as well if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And we're back. 26 seconds left to go. 21 leg kicks from Cannonier alone, and Whittaker's left leg is certainly showing like it's been hit 21 times at least. The movement of Whittaker is impressing me more actually at the moment. In the last 10 seconds, he's so quick, and I guess he's taking that from welterweight. He's taking the speed with him and that movement, whereas Cannonier has taken the power that he had from heavyweight with him. If you're looking to see what time Khabib starts, it's in about 20 minutes, maybe even 10 now. Obviously, we've got the final round of this bout, and of course, the build up to the main event. Khabib or Gaethje, let us know your predictions down in the comments. Who's going to walk out as the undisputed lightweight champion? Back on the way for the third and final round. Could this be the first fight on the pay-per-view, on the main card, to reach the full distance? These two know how much is at stake here. A title shot is on the line. And it depends when Adesanya comes back. We know he likes to compete frequently, likes to fight regularly. And he wanted to fight in December, but I think he's probably going to fight probably January, February now. And I'm sure Cannonier and Whittaker both be very, very excited and very pumped to be able to fight in February and get this fight, turned around pretty quickly. But yes, I think at the moment it's 2018 Whittaker. It seems like that's the unanimous thought across Twitter as well. These leg kicks are really taking its toll on Whittaker, but he's keeping the movement up. Of course, these two both standing inside the center of the cage at the moment. Ooh, fantastic head kick. Hurts Cannonier at the moment, who's retreated back. Whittaker's going to finish it by the looks of it. Cannonier's down, and Whittaker's throwing down the ground and pound there at the moment. The referee's keeping a close eye to it at the moment. Whittaker, obviously known for his wrestling capabilities and the all-round game he has, but Cannonier is hurt here. He's holding on just over a minute of that very third round, or that last round, should I say. Whittaker's very hurt at the moment, or should I say Cannonier's very hurt at the moment. Whittaker uses wrestling, looking for a submission now potentially. Passes into half guard. Cannonier's got to be close not to give him his back. Looking for the arm triangle here, perhaps. Cannonier's got to be very careful here. He's moving up his back, trying to loosen the grip of Whittaker here. We know that Whittaker's probably 2 rounds up at the moment on the scorecard, so Whittaker can just grind it out on the floor here and get himself a good solid win. But it shows, one, the levels of Adesanya, the fact that Adesanya put him away so easily, with all due respect to Whittaker, albeit it won't be a night, or it won't be a night for Adesanya mentally or physically. But he's looked phenomenal against Till, and he's looked phenomenal against Cannonier now, and he's showing that he deserves to be in that title picture. He deserves to be next in line for that title opportunity. Now we've got a cut open here. It looks like Whittaker's got a small cut from an elbow, maybe from Cannonier, but Cannonier's also bleeding by the looks of it with that right eye, and Whittaker's here looking to secure that rear naked choke. He's trying to work that way underneath Cannonier's neck right now. But Cannonier looking to explode out of the clinch, getting back up, and he's got back up very successfully. Impressive there from Cannonier, but we know the clinch work and the wrestling capabilities of Whittaker we've seen before. Whittaker putting a fantastic showing of himself right now. Clinch work again there from Whittaker right now. Cannonier's pushed him up against the back of the cage at the moment. They've broken, and Whittaker's gone straight to that central of the octagon. He knows he's got Cannonier in his grasp here. He knows he's just a minute and a half from a win, but we know what Cannonier can do as well. Cannonier needs to get a finish in this final 90 seconds, otherwise he'll be on the scorecard and on the wrong end of the scorecard tonight. Whittaker's looked so good tonight. He's showing and proving that he should be the #1 contender. And it looks like we're going to get Adesanya versus Whittaker 2, probably in Australia. Get Volkanovski on that card, maybe get Tam Taito with us on that card as well. We've got a good win tonight. A fantastic win, should we say. A fantastic knockout against Stefan Struve. But, boy, that side of the globe at the moment, Megan Anderson looking to fight, or is fighting Amanda Nunes for that featherweight title. If she gets the upset on the night, that Australian card could look pretty phenomenal next year. Whittaker's connected again. He's looking so confident at the moment. He's bouncing around the cage, but Cannonier's looking to come back potentially. He's hurt Whittaker here, and Whittaker's on the retreat. He knows he's got to survive. Only 25 seconds left of this fight, and Whittaker gets the winning on his record. But at the moment, Cannonier's looking to cause the upset. Whittaker goes to take it to the ground, showing his IQ there. A fantastic choice, because if he kept retreating, he might get caught on the clinch. Cannonier goes to the knee, but slips, and Whittaker looks like he's going to make the end of this fight and make the end of the round. And we've got 3 seconds left, and Whittaker's done just enough to avoid getting the upset and losing that fight. He should have won this probably 30-20-27. We know what the judges' scorecards can be a little. But boy, that was a fantastic fight, and probably maybe a performance of the night. Worthy bonus worthy fight there from Robert Whittaker. Fantastic performance, and I'd imagine we're going to see Adesanya versus Whittaker 2. I'd imagine we'll see on the broadcast very soon a tweet from the champ saying and congratulating Whittaker and saying he's next. But Jack Hermansson, if he beats Darren Till, would probably be next in line for me. That title shot, just because one, it's a fresh matchup, perhaps. Or do you do Jack Hermansson versus Jared Cannonier again? Those two out of history, or do you Jack Hermansson, Paulo Costa, perhaps? Paulo Costa will be looking to get his way back into the win column. So maybe, yes, Whittaker gets the title shot. And then we do Paulo Costa versus Jack Hermansson or Darren Till. Obviously, you've got Yoel Romero on the outskirts too. Whittaker should have won. He was comfortably up in those first 2 rounds. He got a knockdown in the 3rd round. So he should be on 30-27, maybe 30-26 even. But Cannonier came back in that 3rd round at the end. And Cannonier came back and he almost looked like he was going to get the upset there. As we see, 65 head strikes for Robert Whittaker, 22 leg kicks for Jared Cannonier, 4 leg kicks for Robert Whittaker, and 1 knockdown there in that final 3rd round, which should be the decision there that gives Whittaker the win, and a very deserved win tonight. And yes, we've got the confirmation there. Robert Whittaker defeats Jared Cannonier 29-28. So 2 rounds to 1. So very close fight on the scorecards. But boy, Whittaker looks good. And after the 2-fight win streak, he's back on now. And I'm sure he's going to be calling out the champion, Adesanya. He wants his title back, I'd imagine.
And we are back for the main event of the course. It is time. Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. Khabib Nurmagomedov has had a horrid 2020 with the loss of his father, and it's going to be interesting to see how he takes that into the cage win tonight, whether he uses it as a positive or a negative. If he uses it as a positive, we're going to see, I was going to say dominant as ever Khabib. We know how dominant he has been, 28-0. But if he uses this energy for him, for the better, he used the memory of his father to better himself, and not to let it. Sometimes a loss in a family can almost suck a person up and make them lose themselves for a little bit. And it's interesting to see, if he didn't want to fight this year, he would have gone absolutely fair enough. You wouldn't have had no bad blood towards him, not wanted to fight. Of course, he was unable to fight Tony Ferguson at the start of the year due to COVID and the lockdown restrictions. He was unable to travel to Russia, to Abu Dhabi, where he's fighting tonight, and of course the States. Justin Gaethje, the human highlight, came in, stole the thunder from Tony Ferguson, and as a win tonight would probably put him up there as maybe fighter of the year if he's not already. I think Gilbert Burns is my close second. I think Gilbert Burns deserves it. Khamzat Chimaev probably is in the running for fighter of the year at the moment, as mentioned. But it's interesting to see where everyone is at. But we'll try and get. But yes, I think Khabib versus Justin Gaethje, this could be fight of the year. It'd be interesting if it goes 5 rounds. I think if it does go 5 rounds, then we're in for a treat. And maybe we're in for a Khabib almost mauling there against Justin Gaethje. But I don't think this fight
is going to be a morning. I think we've seen, and I don't know whether this is because it's Khabib and we've seen the dominance of Khabib, but we said Conor McGregor was a lot of people said Conor McGregor was the toughest opponent he's faced. Same with Dustin Poirier. Ali Quinter, in a sense, which was for the vacant lightweight title at the time, he took that on 24 hours notice, if that. And we was thinking maybe this one, he's not had time to prepare. He was going to fight Tony Ferguson, then Max Holloway 48 hours before that Ali Quinter had to step in. And Ali Quinter gave him a good showing. But Justin Gaethje, the skills that he has, we've not even seen his wrestling capabilities yet. And, what we've been told is elite and top tier. We saw the footage with him training with Kamaru Usman, the welterweight champion. Justin Gaethje is an absolute stud, and he deserves to be on this stage, deserves to be in this main event spot, and deserves to be up against the champion in Khabib Nurmagomedov, of course. We had this anticipation of Tony Ferguson fighting Khabib because of how many times it had been booked. We're on 5-6 times now where we've tried to bet that fight. It's not come off. But you've got to say that this one has something more to it. I don't know whether it's because 2020, but boy, this fight does get the juices flowing, doesn't it? And put your comments down, put your predictions in the comments below. Should I say Khabib or Justin Gaethje, who walks out as champion? Justin Gaethje is about to make the walk to the octagon now with his corner, of course, Trevor Whitman, coach of the year this year. Should he win? He gave the speech of the year with Justin Gaethje in that second round, or after that second round, against Tony Ferguson. We saw, and this one's hard to predict. I think I'm going with Justin Gaethje just because we see it in MMA and in sports. Sometimes the stars just align perfectly for the fighter, and I think this could be his time. We've seen him mature as a fighter in his last 4 fights. Those losses to Dustin Poirier, Eddie others on another night could have been, and probably should have been, his wins. But the fact that he lost them, his only 2 losses on the record that he has, 22-2. He's become a lot more calm, a little bit more composed, but just as exciting as he was in those fights. It was very much hit or be hit, and now he's hitting, but he's able to add in some defense with that. He's able to be a little more calm, composed, not get his chin exposed, and it's such a close fight to call this one. So let us know your predictions in the comments down below. As we mentioned, Justin Gaethje is making his walk to the octagon now, giving his head coach Trevor Whitman a hug there on his way into the cage. And boy, the excitement's going through this one now. Let us know where you're watching from around the world. Interim champion, of course, Justin Gaethje, their 4th fight win streak. And we'll actually look at each of the last 5 fights, of course, for the 2. Justin Gaethje walking into the cage now. Tony Ferguson, he beat at 2-9, of course, broke all of the MMA fans' hearts because it meant we couldn't get Ferguson versus Khabib after all. Although there could be a chance we see it again. Obviously, Tony Ferguson needs to return, get a win back in the column for himself, of course, whether it's up against Michael Chandler, who's backup fighter for tonight, or was backup fighter for tonight. Donald Cerrone, him and Conor McGregor had a lot of back and forth after that Donald Cerrone fight because a lot of people wanted to see McGregor instead. McGregor fight Gaethje instead of Cerrone, of course, with all due respect to Cerrone. But Gaethje put Cowboy away with these. Edson Barboza, James Lick, 2 vicious knockouts for them 2 as well. Justin Gaethje showing how hard he hits. But of course, the Dustin Poirier 1.0, if you want to say, lost to Dustin Poirier, or the Justin Gaethje 1.0, lost to Dustin Poirier with a TKO. But again, it could have very much gone his way. And we saw Dustin Poirier become interim champion. And I think the mindset that Gaethje's going into this fight is one that's very different. Came out with BT and said that Dustin Poirier, once he become interim champion, felt as though he'd reached that point, reached the mountaintop, whereas Gaethje's thrown that interim title away twice now, once on winning it in the cage, and the second one on that press conference he threw it away and said he wants the real one that Khabib owns, and Khabib's making the walkout now. But I think the mentality that Gaethje's had, and props to Trevor Whitman, has really improved and really shown how good of a fighter Gaethje is, and the mentality that he's bringing to the cage now and to his fights now has only enhanced that even further. Khabib Nurmagomedov makes the walk to the cage, now the octagon, in this empty arena now, what we're known for 2020. You know, not seen crowds since the end of March in the UFC, of course. We did see it in Bellator in Paris, a half full arena or a limited capacity arena, but this has something special to it. Khabib walking out into an empty arena, 28-0. You don't see fighters at this level keeping their oath for too long, let alone getting to 25, 26, 27, and now 28-0 as we've seen it. And the fight is, it's thought Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Ally Quinter, but this one has something towards it. It's got a special feeling with Khabib and the loss of his father, how he's walked into this one. It could go either way. If he wins tonight, you could expect him potentially to retire, although he wants that GSP fight, or the McGregor and Dustin Poirier rematch is on the line. But I think he'd rather have that GSP fight, since that's one in his plans and something he wants on his legacy. He's already beat the other two fighters that we just mentioned. But if he loses tonight, it's going to be very interesting. That loss on the record, 28-1. It doesn't change his legacy, but it changes a little bit about his career. That he didn't go undefeated, that he hasn't retired undefeated. He's on a 12-fight win streak at the moment in the UFC, the longest or tied longest active win streak as well. Second most takedowns in the UFC, lightweight history at 57. Boy, this one's going to get emotional, isn't it? But let us know your predictions down below. Khabib or Gaethje get him down there. We're just minutes away from these two entering the cage. And we'll have a quick look again at Khabib's last 5 fights. Of course, undefeated, we know, so he's on a 5-fight win streak in his last 5. Beating Dustin Poirier, submitted Conor McGregor a decision win against Ally Quinter, but that was on very short notice. Edson Barboza, and of course that UFC 205 Michael Johnson, where he's talking to Dana White cage side whilst pummeling poor Michael Johnson and put him into a Kimura lock, I believe it was, that he lost via. And obviously Conor McGregor fought on the main event of that card. You can just see where and how quickly Khabib's risen through the ranks and become champion. He became champion in 2018 at 223. He's made 2 successful defenses of the title. Will it be a third tonight? This one's where the goosebumps start coming in now. We have a quick look at the table, of course. 28-0 up against 22-2, 5'10 versus 5'11 in height. Both of them at that 155 reach, centi-inch reach for the pair of them, and leg reach 40 inch as well. So very, very close. It's going to be interesting to see this first round and how they engage, whether it's a stand-up battle or Khabib or Gaethje either wants to immediately take it to the floor perhaps and explore each other's grappling capabilities. Of course, we have a quick look at the lightweight rankings, of course. As we mentioned, Khabib at the top of the pyramid in the lightweight rankings and in the pound-for-pound rankings too. Wins tonight, cements himself at that number 1 pound-for-pound ranking, of course. Justin Gaethje at number 1, Dustin Poirier. Number 2 is going to be fighting McGregor, most likely on January 23rd, albeit the contract's not signed. I think that fight is pretty much set in stone. Tony Ferguson, of course, is looking to get his way back in there. He's taken the rest of the year off. Of course, he was supposed to be fighting tonight. There was rumours of him fighting Dustin Poirier tonight in that co-main event. Fortunately, he couldn't come to terms with the UFC. But Dan Hooker's there as well. Whether you do Dan Hooker versus Tony Ferguson, I'd rather see Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira and solidify that number 5 spot at the moment. But boy, Tony Ferguson obviously got the introduction of Michael Chandler as well. I think Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson is a fight to make, since Chandler was the backup fighter for tonight. I think it'd be interesting to see those two fight, and maybe the winner get a title shot off the back of that. The goosebumps are on this one for real. Do you see this one going to 4 or 5 rounds? Let us know in the comments below. Bruce Buffer's introducing the 2 fighters at the moment, doing the honorary announcements, I guess you say there. But Khabib Nurmagomedov looking ready to go to war now. he's become a bit more lovable recently, hasn't he? I think fell in love with Khabib a little bit more in his story. I think BT, the animation they put out this week, really hit home. With what Khabib's about, the family, the respect, the pride that Khabib brings into this, and the fact that he had his father right there up until his last fight, and the fact that he hasn't got him in his corner tonight, and how that's going to play. But Khabib looks ready, and he's got a history fighting bears and wrestling bears, and he's been doing this since pretty much he was born. As was Justin Gaethje, and the fact that he's got his mum and dad in the octagon, or well, not in the octagon, that'd be crazy, but ringside and cage side, and that was his stipulation in the contract. He was going to take the fight, but his mum and dad had to be there, and we're just about to kick off now. Get your predictions down in the comments below right now, because we're underway now. Round 1, Justin Gaethje taking the center of the spot. Both of the two bouncing around. It'd be interesting to see who strikes first here. This is a proper pay-per-view event, isn't it? This is one of those ones where you get the goosebumps involved, and you get fully sucked into the fight. Sometimes you could be on the peripherals of the fight, but this one has something special about it. One that we're going to be shown 10, 15 years in the future as we look over these two great legacy. Megan O'Leary just put a tweet out saying there's a crazy nervous energy in the venue right now. And I think that's been echoed around. Everyone who's watching this has a little bit of nerves going into this one. Khabib now taking the center of the cage at the moment, standing on that monster logo, while Gaethje's almost ducking in and out. A lot of feints there, maybe egging Khabib to come in and shoot or a takedown, perhaps. Good strike, good couple strikes there from Gaethje. These two trading at the moment, a couple strikes, but good head movement from both of them there. Khabib's striking has vastly improved. Obviously, we saw him knock McGregor down at 229, of course, in that second round or third round, and that surprised many. But he's come on leaps and bounds to this strike, and obviously we know how dominant his wrestling capabilities is. But the fact that he's starting now to really have the striking game to back that up and make people a bit more wary of his striking rather than just his wrestling has been first class from him, and shows the true definitions of a champion there, that he's been able to improve even more while he's been the champion. Good leg kick there from Gaethje. But this looks like it could be a fist fight. Both of them are worried, but Gaethje with the left hook there. Khabib's looking to get that takedown now and looking to maybe get some clinch work, but Gaethje's able to withhold it so far. Gaethje's got some fantastic head movement. Of course, World Series of Fighting, or otherwise known now as PFL, former champion. So he's been through some wars. We know in a build up to the 30th fight, Gaethje wanted his nose broken. Whether he gets it broken tonight and he can get it fixed properly via the UFC, we are yet to know. But Khabib is looking like he wants to keep this on the feet so far. Whether that's just part of them, a couple strikes, couple jabs, and reduce that distance, and then be able to get a takedown. But Gaethje's head movement is first class at the moment. He's really impressive. We've got 2 minutes left of this first round. Khabib isn't looking to mess around though either. He looks like he's coming to this with a. It's hard to find the right words, but his mentality in going into this fight seems a bit different. He seems a bit more angry, a little bit more going in for the kill rather than a little bit more composed. And Gaethje's retreating quite a bit there. He's taking the center of the cage again. Jumping knee attempt there from Khabib. This has got something special about it, guys. This is something that's not to be missed. So crazy, this fight hasn't got 20, 30,000 fans in the arena to be cheering the two of them on. The fact that we're in this gladiatorial sort of sense where two of them are fighting with no fans or a limited capacity. I think there's only 20, 30 people in the arena that they're fighting in at the moment. Gaethje doing good work there. Khabib's showing his strength on the feet. He's not backing down from a fist fight here. Good striking there. Gaethje's looking a little worn out at the moment. But both of these have got fantastic gas tanks and 40 seconds left to go. I don't think this one's making the final bell for round 5. I don't think this gets out 3 rounds, to be honest, with the pace that these two are going at the moment. Khabib has finally got Gaethje to the cage now. He's hooked his legs together as he does so well and trapped Gaethje's feet, who's now out. But Gaethje's got a little cut above his left thigh at the moment. Khabib's putting in the groundwork here and looking, it might be time to smash. Gaethje looking for an armbar attempt here, perhaps. 7 seconds left to go in the first round. And it looks like we're going to see the buzzer, but Gaethje looks not broken, but he looks very fatigued already. He looks very tired. Whereas Khabib looks angry. I think angry is the right word to use. He looks angry in this fight. Trevor Whitman in the corner again. He's going to get one of those stellar ringside talks that he's been given to Justin Gaethje. Trevor Whitman telling Gaethje to slow it down there. Gaethje said his leg might be gone here. Or it might be Gaethje saying that Khabib's leg's fucked. But Gaethje's a little confident here. But yeah, these two are scary. The fact, we know how scary Khabib is, but the fact that Gaethje, he doesn't look like someone who, with all due respect to him, he doesn't look like someone who can beat the hell out of you for 5 rounds or 5 minutes. But these two are the pinnacle of that lightweight division at the moment. But it looks like there could be a problem for the left leg of Khabib at the moment. Those leg kicks and those calf kicks come into effect there from Justin Gaethje. We'll go back into the second round. Khabib's striking though is showing the levels that he's improved from over the past 2 or 3 years. Good strike here. Do you think this one's going to get out the second round? Joey here with a comment saying, who won the first round? It's very close, but I think I'd probably edge it to Khabib. He got a takedown in the final seconds of that first round. These two are actually throwing bombs. There's no love going into the strikes. It's full 100% capacity, looking to knock out the opponent. Be interested to see who's got the stronger chin out of the two. We've not seen these two taking too much damage. Obviously, Gaethje's been knocked out, but he still is able to take a lot of damage and a lot of strikes before almost withering away there. But these two, considering these two top wrestlers, they seem to be having a very good kickboxing match at the moment. Khabib's just taken the back there with Gaethje. He's so impressive. Once he gets you down, he literally within 2 transitions was on the back. He's looking for that Kimura lock now. Perhaps he's looking. Oh, Khabib might be in trouble. He's looking for the triangle now for Gaethje. Oh my God, this is sublime from Khabib. He could be getting the finish here already. Was that a tap? Oh my God. Khabib, #and still. In the second round, he gets it done, and 29-0. He's the GOAT. He might be the GOAT. 29-0. He puts Gaethje to sleep after the most sublime transition you've ever seen. You can see Khabib taking the center of the octagon, taking the cage, and he's in tears now. Obviously, the memory of this father. It's been a stressful year for him and a couple of stressful months, but he's pouring his heart out here, and it's almost tough to watch. That was so beautiful, though. The transition, he took him down, looked to get Kimura lock in, and within 3 movements later, he was putting in a triangle, and there was a tap there, but the referee missed it. And Gaethje goes in there and consoles him. Gaethje was asleep for a little bit, but he consoles him, and that's amazing to see. Oh, you have to feel the Khabib, man. Wow. Yeah, you got to feel sorry for Khabib, man. Well, happy that he's won, but sorry for what he's gone through in the Gaethje and Khabib show. respect, and we mentioned before, Khabib is all about respect, and these two, I've got a lot of respect, but Khabib's broken here right now, and you have to respect that. You'd almost be anticipating maybe he retires tonight, but Michael Khabib Nurmagomedov is hashtag and still. We've got the little graphic here, hashtag and still, and wow. Just looking at the move here, he takes side control. He looks to take his arm and put him in a Kimura, but he locks up that triangle, gets to his back, and it's over within seconds after that. Khabib is phenomenal. And Gaethje tries to lift him up, tries to slam him down, but he taps very soon after that. Wasn't able to escape. Referee missed the tap because it was almost like he was trying to tap on his head, but he taps 2-3 times, perhaps before the referee notices. And obviously Gaethje's out cold there, and Khabib is hashtag and still. A beautiful triangle there, a phenomenal movement there from Khabib. 29-0. This man is a monster. Albeit we're seeing his most human side that we've ever seen at the moment. But boy, you got to feel for him, man. This is hard to watch. All that emotions coming out after what has been 6-7 months of absolute hell for Khabib, and he showed up on the night, performed, got it done very quickly, and we're seeing the two stand in the octagon now as we await the official decision. Hashtag and still. Phenomenal work there from Gaethje, or from Khabib, should I say. And he kisses the octagon, and it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say now. Of course, with John Anik, but he's still in tears. I feel so sorry for him. He did indeed smash Ryan. He smashed Khabib, won via submission there, as Michael confirms there. I mean, there's your answer. Khabib won, and this is tough to watch. He's taken his gloves off. Whether he's going to leave them in the octagon, I don't know. This could be interesting to see. If he leaves the gloves in the octagon, this could be the last time we see Khabib Nurmagomedov. I feel this is heartbreaking to watch, Khabib has retired. He's officially putting his gloves in the octagon, and you see it in the speech. He's announced his retirement, 29-0. He doesn't want to fight there with his father not there and not alive no more. He is the GOAT. 29-0. Khabib Nurmagomedov is leaving his gloves in the octagon, and he's retiring. He confirms it's his last fight. He is number 1 pound for pound. He doesn't have to worry about that. That's the only thing he asked for on Tuesday. But we have a vacant lightweight title, but that's not the time to be talking about that one. We've got to give Khabib his moment. But boy, 29-0, undisputed, undefeated. It gives Justin Gaethje is thanked for the fight and shows respect. But boy, he thanks everyone, and of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov. This is probably the most human we've seen of Khabib. We know of the machine he is, but we're seeing the human side of him. One tonight and these last couple months, but he leaves his gloves in the octagon, 29-0. There's nothing left for him to do in that division. He's beaten everyone but Tony Ferguson. But 29-0, he retires undefeated with what's arguably the best record that any professional MMA fighter has had. What a career. And it's so difficult when you lose a loved one. We've all been there, and we all know exactly what Khabib's feeling at the moment. When his father has been there all of his career and all of his life and helped him get to this point, the fact that he doesn't want to continue, the fact that he doesn't need to continue anymore. His legacy is set in stone. His father's legacy is set in stone. And 29-0 Khabib Nurmagomedov. This is such a tough moment. Wow. Wow. It feels wrong to talk about the future of the lightweight division right now. We need to let Khabib have his moment, and we'll talk about that on a new day. This is Khabib's moment. What about Justin? Yeah, let's not matchmake today. But Gaethje, Michael Chandler, maybe. McGregor, Dustin Poirier could be for that vacant lightweight title. That would add a little bit of spice to it. But it does feel bad and wrong to be matchmaking when we need to give Khabib his moment. Wow, phenomenal stuff! Phenomenal fight there from Khabib. And we'll wrap it up in a second. We'll wrap up the whole card, of course. But boy, that was a heartbreaking moment, wasn't it? We just seen a piece of history in the UFC and in MMA. But boy, we're indebted to his career and the fights he's given us, the dominance he's given us over the past 5-6 years. No one's been on his level. nothing more to do in the legacy of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Is he the GOAT? Is he the greatest of all time? He can retire undefeated, undisputed. No one's beaten him. He's lost arguably one round in his entire career. But the gloves of Khabib Nurmagomedov are left in the octagon, and I think that's a good place to wrap up the card. Let me mute the broadcast. But of course, we opened 254 with a lot of excitement going into Khabib versus Gaethje, and we've got the result now. Khabib Nurmagomedov is the undisputed champion. He left his gloves inside the cage after beating Justin Gaethje in the second round via submission, via arm triangle, and it was a fantastic arm triangle as well. These two in the first round looked to go to war, and he looked angry, he looked very emotional, and he let that emotion out when he was, when the fight ended and it was confirmed the winner, the champion. He left his gloves inside the octagon, he promised his mother that he wouldn't fight anymore. With his father not being around anymore and his father not being in a cage, he didn't want to continue, and he's within his right to. He was within his right to retire immediately when he found it out. But it's a sad moment. What was a fantastic card. We run it back, of course, to the co-main event. Robert Whittaker defeated Jared Cannonier there via unanimous decision, 29-28. He looked phenomenal, and probably would be going up against Robert Whittaker there for the middleweight title, up against Adesanya, should I say, for the middleweight title once again in a rematch for the ages, perhaps. Robert Whittaker's looked phenomenal now, 2-0 since that loss to Adesanya, and he's looked loose. He's looked back to his best. He looks back to what we know. But boy, that retirement's got me there a bit. The emotion that he's shown there. We've seen the human side of Khabib, but obviously we know Theo Halls defeated his opponent, a fantastic knockout win on his debut. Of course, Lauren Murphy with a submission win, her first submission win, I believe, as well. She goes on to a 4-fight win streak now, which we've not seen in the flyweight division. She's got the longest active win rank and win streak, should we say, in the flyweight division. Is going to be looking to very close eyes to UFC 255, where Valentina Shevchenko faces Jennifer Maia, and Lauren Murphy, albeit maybe Jessica Andrade, has skipped the queue. Lauren Murphy is definitely next in line. We move on to, obviously, the main event opener, of course, which was Magomed Ankalaev versus Ian Cutelaba, a rematch for the ages. A rematch that was, cancelled 3 times. The first one was layered in controversy after, Cutelaba almost played possum, but this time there was no questions to be asked or answered after Ankalaev defeated him in the end of the first round with some vicious ground and pound. He knocked him down, and he finished the fight in very impressive fashion. Tai Tuivasa returned after being released 2 months ago. He come back and knocked out Stefan Struve, Casey Kenny, and Nathaniel Wood. Arguably fight of the night. These two came together, put on a fantastic performance in that 140-pound catch weight bout that they had. Neither of them had enough time to get down to that 135 where they naturally weigh, or naturally fight at, should we say. And it was 29-28, to Casey Kenny in favour of 2 judges, and 30-27, which was a little bit, what felt a little bit of a robbery for Nathaniel Wood. It was 29-28 either way, and we was potentially looking at a split decision. Shavkat Rakhmonov came in on his UFC debut, of course, beat Alex Oliveira with a guillotine choke in that first round, and then Dahun Jung also, actually with a split draw against Sam Alvey. Those two put on a fantastic performance for the ages. Probably one round apiece, and a 10-8 maybe for Jung in that final round. Miranda Maverick came in with a beautiful elbow, defeated Diana Jojoa, who was unable to compete, albeit not her decision. She wanted to compete, but the doctors came in and stopped it. And Joe Alvarez came in with a first-round submission armbar for Alexander Yakovlev, and that opened up the prelims. But fantastic, and we've got an echo here. Khabib Nurmagomedov, undisputed, undefeated, 29-0, leaves his gloves in the octagon after what's been a horrid year for himself, but he's beaten everyone, and it closes the chat. To be interesting to see where he goes. Does he go into the realm of coaching? Does he, he's got a family of himself. Does he go back and almost, become a bit more reserved? I don't think this is the last we see of Khabib in terms of UFC, in terms of MMA, but this is 100% the last time we see him in the cage. We don't, we're not going to see him fight Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson needs a win. We're not going to see him. He doesn't need to rematch the likes of Conor Dustin. He's beat him already, and the future of that lightweight division is now open going to 2021. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. in January is probably going to be for that vacant title. We'd imagine we could probably see Michael Chandler get a shot at the number 1 spot, whether that be against Tony Ferguson or Justin Gaethje, who rightfully deserves it. But both of them are going into that fight on the back of the loss. But boy, thank you, Khabib, for everything. And yes, thank you guys for watching. Of course, we're going to wrap it up there. But yes, this is Khabib's time, Khabib time. He smashed Justin Gaethje, with all due respect to Gaethje. He caught him, and he made it look easy, as he's done pretty much in every fight that he's had. But yes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back probably tomorrow now for the recap. We'll do a full in-depth recap for a podcast where we're getting some guests in as well. But as we mentioned for the last time, before we move on to next week, thank you, Khabib, and enjoy retirement.